Good evening and a warm welcome. You're here watching Chris Melling against Callum Singleton.
Chris Melling to break first.
And it started already. I'm joined on commentary by Greg Batten. And if any of you were watching the last time, Greg and I were commentating together. We lost the plot for about 15 minutes. And he started already. Oh dear. But we have this small affair of Chris Melling versus Callum Singleton in the winners round one. So we saw Chris Melling first thing this morning playing Lee Washbrook. And maybe have a tougher game on his hands here. Callum Singleton's the young man that dumped Tom Cousins out of the tournament in event 4 and should have dumped him out of the tournament in event 1. So, good evening, Greg.
Yeah, good evening, Nick. And yeah, I agree with you. I think this is going to be more of a test for Chris tonight. And one thing I would say is that obviously Chris came down last night, played in the flyer, won it, and I heard him talking to Gareth Potts earlier on, saying how much he liked these rules. And, well, judging by his performance earlier, if he carries on like that, it's going to take a really good performance by Callum to even stick with him, I would imagine.
Yeah, yeah. So you obviously played already today.
Yeah, played really, really well, but just come unstuck against Zach Cooper. So, no, I had a tough match, to be honest, in terms of I haven't prepared all that great for it, and unfortunately came unstuck. You know, It's one of those things, isn't it? If you don't put the time in, you don't get the results.
Well, just not had any time for...
Yeah, just been really busy with work, and obviously I've got 2 kids, and
yeah.
It sounds like excuses, but actually, no, it's not. I'm normally good at putting the time in, but unfortunately just this time I wasn't able to, and yeah, I'm just going to try and do my best tomorrow now. So
Tough shot there for Chris. That was very hampered queuing. Did really well to get into the jewels, actually. But gives Callum half a chance. It's just trying to see what his opening ball's going to be here. It's, I don't think either of these balls go into top right, so he might only have a plant.
Yeah.
And a tough plant at that.
Yeah, that's right. Or he may try and elect to put the white over by the left-hand side of the table, perhaps, because if he puts it over the left-hand side of the table, it's in a fairly safe position in terms of, yeah, that's what he's elected to do, because Chris cannot now pot a yellow direct, so he's just tried to make it a bit difficult for Chris.
And this is the first match that we watched on this table today where there's not been a break dish first frame.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Tells you something of the standard we've seen today.
Yeah, definitely.
For players to just come onto the table and dish up in the first frame, there's something else. And you can see the kind of entourage that Chris Melling brings with him, the interest that's generated. These people have been in the main arena watching, or maybe watching some people through the bar, and now suddenly there's a buzz around the table as people are interested in watching.
Look at this for a shot.
Yeah. Oh, what a great effort.
But he actually played that with a bit of safety in mind in trying to put the red further down by the yellow of the left-hand bag. Unfortunately for Chris, I think he's left a possible double. But the reds certainly aren't easy for Callum. And as we know with these supreme rules, covering a bag doesn't provide you with any advantage at all, which is good for a free-flowing, quick game, which we all want to see.
Yeah. Did you have much of a chance to practice? I know you came up for the event in early November, didn't you? So
yeah, I came up for that in November and got to the semis, lost to Neil Raybone, quite a close match. So yeah, fully prepared in terms of knowing the rules, and obviously I've read them a few times. So and in actual fact, they're the most simple rules I've played, to be honest. There's only a couple of important points you need to remember. So yeah, nothing but good things to say about the rules.
I think that's been the general consensus so far.
Yeah, everyone I've spoken to, and Ronan McCarthy, for example, and Declan Brennan, who were also at the £50 a man event, both also said they were the best rules they've played. So if people like that are saying it, then you know they're pretty good.
I mean, what it would be nice to see. I mean, one of the things that's been noticeable about this event is there's other event organisers, almost been a bit of conflict between other event organisers and Lee Kendall, and whether that's, I'm not going to put words into people's mouths about, you know, envy and things like that, because it's just irrelevant to the situation. But what I would hope is that people embrace the rule set for what it is, and don't, you know, out of pure, because if it's not World Rules Associated or Black Ball Associated, if it's an independent competition, it could easily be played to Supreme Rules, and there's such a simple rule set to pick up. What I'd hate to see is that organisers not playing them simply because, you know, there's that kind of like almost that begrudging, well, I don't really want to play him because Kenny's rule set sort of thing, you know. But
and I think unfortunately you'll probably get a little bit of that. Yeah. But in terms of this tour, and obviously hopefully that it does go ahead again next year.
Hopefully the demand from the players will be there. Yeah. So you know, people are just forced to use the rule set almost.
Well, my opinion is that they should play it to these Supreme Rules now. You know, we've had 2 sets of World Rules, 2 sets of Black Ball.
Yeah.
So that appeals to both sets of players, and then they've introduced the Supreme Rules for the Grand Final, rightly so. And I think now that everyone gets to play these rules and realises how easy they are, but also how good they are, and how simple they are to play, it should be an easy transition if they do a next series next year to have these as the rules that they play throughout the whole event.
Yeah, absolutely. So Chris Melling, he's the magician, 39 years old. He's doesn't know who's made his cue, which is quite unusual. He's got a century tip, 8.3 mil. He's just got an absolute plethora of titles behind him. Of course, 2 World Championships, World Masters, 8-ball champion twice, International Masters champion, European Masters champion, World Junior champion. The list goes on and on. I mean, he's had success in China. He's been on the Moscone Cup. He's been the Moscone Cup MVP, and he's had one of the years of his life, to be honest. I think he won the US Open, didn't he? Was it the Derby City Classic? I think it was the US Open he won. And he's won a couple of the World Series events. Won an event out in Vegas, and he's just been prolific throughout the year. Really unlucky, in my opinion, not to get onto the Moscone Cup team. I know he was devastated when he didn't. And even when Mario Hay got pulled, then Chris didn't get in the team. So, a real shame. But he'll be down there supporting the team. Started playing pool at the age of 3, and to his credit, I think he's the only player who's ever held pro cards in 3 disciplines, in snooker, in English 8-ball, and at 9-ball. So he's pro at 3 different cue sports at the same time. One of the most natural players in the world.
Yeah, but as we see, Callum Singleton has taken the first frame. First to 11 in the second round here.
We'll take a look. Sorry, Greg.
That's all right. No, I was just going to say Callum is a very good player in his own right, isn't he? As you say, he's had some great scalps this season, especially in this series. Former European champion, I believe, as well. So he's got good pedigree.
Yeah.
And the thing with Callum is he's steady. He's not necessarily a really quick player, but he, if Chris does make a mistake, Callum's good enough to play the right shot and take advantage. So Chris going to definitely have to be on his game.
Yeah, he's just 23 years old.
Is that all he is?
Yeah, he's his dad bought his cue off a mate when he was 12 years old. He uses a tiny 7.3 mil tip. Some players would struggle with a tip that small, and it looks like he's even. He does have a break cue. I was going to say you don't want to break him with a 7.3 mil tip, do you?
You split it in half after a few.
Yeah. So winning multiple team world championships and European championships, making a world junior final, making a European men's final, winning the under 23 world championship, winning the men's home nations and interleague cup titles with the Leicester team. His dad started him playing at a young age, and he's always enjoyed the game. His greatest influence has been Stacey Vine, who taught him a lot when he was young about his temperament, how to keep his temperament in the big games, and he thinks that that's helped him a lot throughout the years. I say throughout the years, he's such a youngster, but he's been playing a long time. Favourite player is also Stacey Vine, because he plays every game so seriously, even when he's practicing. His ambition is to become world champion one day.
Yeah, it's never a bad thing to practice the same as you play matches. So I was talking to Gareth Potts about Mark Selby earlier on today, and he was saying
just the odd name drop there.
Yeah, just a small name.
Yeah.
He was saying that Mark Selby practices exactly the same as he does, matches. It doesn't matter who he's playing, if it's an amateur or a Ronnie O'Sullivan, he plays exactly the same. And yeah, that's the way you should play, I think. So.
Yeah, I used to play interleague. I made the mistake once. We had a player in our team who's just a proper fudger, loves a fudge, and he asked me if I'd have a little practice with him before the off, and got on the table, made them. I can't even look at Greg Batten. He's so bad. I made the mistake of having a little practice with him, and when I'm practicing, I just want to get my arm going. he's covering bags and snookering me and doing God knows what, and it's in practice. But that's what makes him a decent player, because he plays exactly the same way in practice that he does in the game. And there's me. I just want to
get your arm
play
going.
A few flamboyant shots and get my arm going. And I'm every time I come to the table, I'm in a snooker. It's like it's the worst person you could possibly try and practice with.
Yeah.
But it works for them.
Exactly.
That's exactly what they should be doing.
Yeah, they get results. So.
Yeah.
So 1 each now in this match, and that's a really good break from Chris Melling. And it looks like he's forced into taking yellows. To be honest, both sets are pretty good.
You can just hear that buzz around the room now. We're quite fortunate now. We were in the first 4 events, we were right next to the table, just where Chris is there. We were just over to the right-hand side of that, and anything you said, any noises you made could be heard rattling around the arena. So it's quite nice to be in a side room now, and we can make as much noise as we like.
Yeah, and any prolonged noises, it doesn't really matter what happens, does it? So. We're tucked away now, so anything goes, as it were. But fortunately, it's Chris making short work of these yellows. He's landed a little bit straight, I think, though, on this yellow, so he's going to have to probably screw back off one cushion. He's not too happy with that, but
And there's our cameraman George showing his new toy. Have you seen
yeah,
that?
I saw that earlier on. That's really good, isn't it?
There you
It's,
go. Look at that. He loves it. Absolutely loves it. He looks like a gnome with a fishing rod. That's, to be honest, he just looks like he's sat there.
Well, he's only just over 3 foot, isn't he?
But
No, he's a lovely, lovely guy.
that's a really great addition to
Wow.
to the equipment with beer production. What a shot that was! I mean, look at the action on that cue ball. That's ridiculous. He's put so much check side on that to come back down below the ball. Look at that.
Look at that.
Just such a simple game when you're Chris Melling. So flamboyant. He's got such vision.
Yeah.
Frame.
I mean, to get that much stink on that white was unbelievable. It came off 2 cushions and then checked back off the 3rd. As you say, absolutely brilliant shot.
Yeah.
2-1 ahead.
I did an interview with Chris a good few years ago now. In fact, it might have been a commentary, and we were talking about, you know, his vision and his ability to kick balls, and just that kind of cue ball control. He thinks that it's fairly unique to him, just simply because he plays so many disciplines. You know, you have to be good at bank shots, and you have to be good at kick shots for playing 9-ball, for example, or playing, you know, 1 pocket, or playing 14-1, and all these different disciplines that he plays.
Yeah.
It just makes him the more rounded, versatile player, and he can pull off shots that just most of us just don't even think of.
Yeah, he seems to have an enormous amount of different shots in his repertoire, whereas other players perhaps go the conventional routes or try and play the conventional routes. He just seems to see alternative ways of going, and he's got the talent to actually get them as well.
Yeah.
So, really good break there from Callum. They've gone far and wide, and again, he's probably going to be forced into going for reds, judging by the way the balls have come out. But we'll see what he does. May be able to cut this one into the bottom left-hand pocket, but
Red's in play.
The thing is, Callum, even at his young age, he's got so much experience. He's been there. He's played those games against people like Tom Cousins, and he knows how to beat the top players. So he won't be intimidated. Chris will have to be at the top of his game all the way through this.
yeah, you'll also find though that Callum will also, he'll have to stay with Chris. You know, he can't afford to go a couple of frames behind. We all know how good a front runner Chris is.
Yeah.
And he's got to take his chances.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3.
Callum had to beware there. Just taps the table in frustration, but I think he might be okay. I think he can just get through to the side rail. It's not ideal, but yeah, he can get to the side rail and still pot that. It should be still fairly elementary.
Yeah, it's a great shot there by Callum.
Yeah, played it just the right way too. Excellent.
Crowd getting now behind Callum as
Yeah,
well, so he's got a
yeah.
lot of support. And as you said earlier, Nick, there's a lot of people in here now, so that's the sort of...
Yeah, that'll give him a buzz of confidence.
Yeah.
As I say, Chris, just this, if anything in this tournament is going to present a banana skin to Chris Melling, it's and Callum Singleton, and showing no fear of this arena. You know, everyone sat around looking at him, and all the cameras pointing at him, but showing no fear whatsoever.
No. As you say, he's been there and done it. He's beaten some really top players before already in this series, so he knows what he's up against, and so far he's holding up 2 each.
Fifth frame, Chris Melling to break. 2 frames all. Time running.
So pressure firmly back on Chris's shoulders, and even though it's early in the match, it is still a pressure to pop balls off the break, make sure he just keeps his nose ahead.
Reds in play.
Just to give you an update on the scores, current scores on the other tables, and perhaps a bit of a shock on the cards. Chris Day is 4-1 up against Mick Hill currently.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
I mean, Chris Day. I think Mick will probably know Chris quite well. They come from. Do they come from a similar area? No, yeah, they do, don't they? I think Chris is from up there, is he? Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, Chris is from around that area, around Morley Way, where of course Mick Hill's got his club up there. So I'm pretty sure they'll know each other well.
Chris has been playing well. He was here for the £50 a man event pre this one, just to give players a chance to get used to the rules, and he did pretty well in that event. And
He's
very
one of those
capable.
He is a very capable player, but I bet if you put him in front of the camera, there'd probably be about 6 people in the viewers that actually recognise him, because he just
slips under the radar.
He really does,
Yeah.
really does.
Darren Appleton 2-1 up against Mark Farnsworth.
Well, there's a game. There's a game, and that game is being streamed on Table 11. So, as I said earlier, please do get your laptop out. You should be watching this game and the Mark Farnsworth Darren Appleton game. So, one on the main stream. And don't forget, you can win yourself a Supreme Winner pool table. If you go to the Players Pool Events Facebook group, pinned to the top, you'll find this exact poster. The instructions are on the poster. All you have to do is like the post, share the post, and join the group. And to join the group, all you have to do is like it. And then you will be in with a chance to win a brand new Supreme Winner pool table delivered to your door.
Yeah, some prize.
Yeah, what a great opportunity.
Robbie Chilton, 3-2 up against Sean Chipperfield currently.
What about this score? My pick for the weekend is currently 2-0 down to Matt Schofield. That's Gareth Hibbert. And Gareth is in some form at the moment. He won his first game at 11-1.
Wow.
And now he's trailing Matt Schofield. Still early doors though. Sean Chipperfield, another player who's just moved across into the IPA. Yeah? You just mentioned that game.
Yeah. 3-2 down against Rob Chilton.
Yeah.
Sean Story, 2-1 down against Ian Alley. Sean Story, last tournament's finalist, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
He'll be hoping to emulate that run if he can and better it, possibly. Michael Hill's pulled one back, now trails 4-2 against Chris Day. So we'll keep you updated on these scores as we go along.
I've got to say, the amount of times in this series that Mick Hill, I've looked across and Mick Hill's been like 5-1 down or 6-2 down or something, and then he just finds another gear.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, at the moment it's 4-2 to Chris Day, but I wouldn't be at all surprised to see Mick Hill win that like 11-6 or something. I mean, it's just, I mean, he is an absolute machine.
Yeah.
He's done that a lot. Go behind and then just click in. So, a couple of problem areas here for Callum. There's a yellow that's tied up
Yellow's in play.
just towards the right-hand rail, but he's got balls all around it to be able to. I mean, I would think
He should be able to pop this yellow into the left-hand bottom pocket and either cannon the red in between the two yellows to leave himself an angle to develop, or cannon the other red to open the frame up, or he may be able to hold, but I'd imagine he'll probably use the red. He's actually gone in behind, so he's in a bit of trouble now, I would say, because I think he was trying to cannon the red, as I suggested, but he's missed it, so he's going to have to reroute. And as we were saying earlier, obviously he's 3-2 down currently. He has to stay with Chris, I think.
got to stay on his shirt tails all the way through. I was going to say, is that not the shot to top through to the left-hand side row and give yourself that angle to pop the yellow into the top right corner and just come across and nudge that red out of the way?
Yeah, but I think he's got on the wrong side of this red, so he can't follow it through. Yeah, as you see there, the white was going down the other end of the table, so he's going to try and stun across now, I would imagine. Hard stun.
This is going to have to be some shot there.
Yeah, he's going to have to come off the left-hand cushion with a bit of check side to ping the white back. There we go.
That's a great effort.
He's not made a bad effort at that,
No.
Unfortunately.
He wanted to come lower.
He
wanted
did.
to come lower, but he's okay. He's got a shot.
Well,
does that go past the red? I think it does, doesn't
need
it?
to get George on the camera here to see if it goes down the bottom, but I think it's pretty tight.
Is it? And he can't play it off the red because the red is just fractionally
Too far
below the pocket.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
if it doesn't go, then
He's in a bit of trouble. Oh, it does go. You can see it goes. Nicely played.
Yeah, this is a really classy clearance.
Looked like he was in trouble, but he's found a way, and one good shot away from 3-all. And this is a big moment already in this game. It's only 3-2 to Chris, but this is a big pot coming up.
You fancy him for this?
Yeah.
You fancy him for? Oh my God!
I really did. I
Why
fancied him for that one, but
Yeah.
and that will hurt him because he knows that was a good chance for 3-all.
That was the obligatory commentator's curse. I'm always going to do a few of those at the weekend, so I'll apologise to Callum for that one. I'll take that one on the chin. Really fancied him to get that, and that is such a big swing. 3-all, the pressure's right back on Chris's break. Now Chris is going to be 4-2 ahead and breaking in the next. I mean, these are the
body blow.
points. Yeah, these are the points in a match where you know, the top players, this is where they excel, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
He's just gonna stamp on his throat. You just got to get your foot on that windpipe and just keep it on there.
Frame 7, Chris Melling to break, leading 4 frames to 2, time running.
Sam Sprackman is the referee. Sam has been I guess a practice partner, and I've played in the same team as Sam for probably 20 years. And this is his first mission. He loves his pool. He's also a very, very adept cue maker and a cue doctor. Goes by the name of Dr. Q. And yeah, his first time at reffing, and done a great job so far. Really confident. We've got a new cameraman on the job as well. Steve is out in the arena along with George. There's Steve on camera.
Extension called.
Thought he was going to give us a nod there for a minute. So a couple of new additions to the Supreme Pool series. Both doing a fantastic job so far. Big shot. No good. Just a far knuckle. And McHill's pulled back another frame. Now it's 4 frames to 3 to Chris Day.
Looks like he's doing what you said. Putting on the afterburners. Appleton 4-1 up now against Mark Farnsworth. So could be a big shock on the cards on table 11.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you say big shock. I mean, Darren Appleton, probably one of the finest players to ever hold a cue. But I totally accept what you're saying. I mean, Mark Farnsworth is has been one of the best and most consistent black ball players in the last 3-4 years, I guess.
Yes.
And Darren, having been out of the game for so long.
Yeah, I've got that right. It wouldn't be a big shot, but obviously with what Darren said in his interview earlier on today, the fact that he's been,
just
struggling with the table with the white.
Yeah.
But there, as you say, he's one of the world's best ever.
Just finds a way to. Well, Gareth Potts summed it up earlier on. He just finds a way to win.
Yeah.
Because he's just a fighter. He's just a born winner. He knows how to win. That's a super shot.
Jimmy Croxton 3-2 down against Ben Forte. Zach Cooper 4-2 up against Stefan Rezidi. And Phil Harrison 2-1 up against Rich Wharton.
Good mates.
Yeah, he
Very good mates.
Starts his campaign.
They would have probably travelled up together.
Yeah.
And Rich has just pulled back a frame. Actually, he's gone 2-1. But yeah, they're Best of
Same
friend,
area, are they?
best of friends, those two.
Ah,
yeah,
okay.
They, I think one was the best man for the other, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I know they are very, very close friends. So I'm sure they would have inwardly groaned when they drew each other.
Yeah.
But no mates on a pool table when you're playing for 51 grand. I mean, Phil would be looking to brush aside Rich. Rich is a decent player, though.
Yeah.
That was work cut out. That's a nice shot.
Yeah, he's played that well.
Yeah, again, controlled it really well. This has been a nice break, actually. Kind of leaving the action to call itself. It's, both players playing good at the moment. Mick Hill's won another frame, and now it's 4 frames each.
The blink of an eye, he was 4-1 down, it's 4 apiece.
Just hit that gear that I mentioned.
Yeah, he's hit that afterburner, and as you know, anything can happen once he gets in that mode.
Yeah. Yeah, when I say hit that gear, I mean that was very firmly in the sense of a motor car rather than gear, as in he's not been in the toilets. This is good stuff from Callum. Just needs to think about the black ball now. The obvious shot under normal circumstances would be to just drop the yellow in and have the black into opposite right, but with the red guarding that pocket. So it does go into, I wondered if it went into right centre. It clearly does. Otherwise you'd have had to manufacture something. And that's a nice clearance.
Just to also mention, Jamie Graham had a great win earlier on against Yannick Beaufils.
That wasn't a great win at all.
Well, he was very chuffed with it, that's for sure.
No, I'd say that wasn't a great win, being that Beard Productions put Yannick into the event. It's definitely not.
Oh, I didn't know that. Apologies.
It's not a great event from our perspective, but a great result for Jamie for sure.
Yeah,
that really is a really good sculpt.
And he's taken the first frame against Declan Brennan. So
wow, Jamie's one of those players, isn't he? He turned up to a couple of these events and he just didn't turn up, if you know what I mean. But in the last couple, he's put in some really solid.
I know from experience, once he turns on the gas, he can literally keep going.
Yeah.
When he's on, you know. So he's one of those players.
Frame 8, Callum Singleton's break. Trailing 4 frames to 3, time running.
Callum is breaking absolutely massive every time. He really is hitting them well.
Huge.
So important for Callum now to keep in touch with Chris. And these reds don't look too bad.
Mark Farnsworth pulled a frame back. It's 4-2 now. You can watch that game over on table 11, as we already mentioned. You can stick with myself and Greg, or that's our other game with commentary.
Reds in play.
Chris Day is pulled ahead again of Mick Hill. 5-4 now to Chris Day.
That's a pretty quick game, that one, isn't it? They're
It's going well, isn't it?
flying through the frames.
Sean Story in a bit of trouble at the moment against Ian Alley. 4-1 down.
Yeah. Ian having a good weekend after a fairly reasonable showing at BI, Blackpool International event last week. I think, no, sorry, it wasn't the BI, it was the Bapto the week before. I think he won the mixed doubles and had a decent run in the singles. So he's on a bit of form at the moment. He did tell me beforehand that He's been practicing hard.
And Sean Chipperfield's pulled one back against Robbie Chilton. Now trails 5-3.
Time running.
Callum just ensuring that he doesn't get a bad contact on this red. Never a bad thing, just to steady yourself before a big shot. Yeah, nicely done. So barring anything untoward, he should be looking to take out the next 2 pots for a 4-all.
Darren Appleton re-establishes his 3-frame lead, and he's now 5-2 ahead against Mark Farnsworth. Ian Alley's won another frame and he's 5-1 up against Sean Story. And young Josh Kane is 4-1 up against another youngster in Jake Dylan Newlove.
Frame 9, Chris Melling to break.
So Chris Melling to break,
Time running.
4 apiece. He'll be hoping for a big one now.
Time out. Time running.
So a fairly congested break.
Yeah, well, Chris comes up dry, doesn't he? So Callum, it's a messy table, isn't it? I mean, all the reds. All the reds have a pocket, but
Yeah, it's not the cleanest of outs, and certainly going to have to work out the best way.
Giving this one some thought. Already called his extension. Has to be careful of that time. As you see, just 20 seconds left and already used his extension. Not in danger yet, but
Can't afford to prolong it, can you?
nice opening ball. Gets one of the difficult ones out of the way early. Stayed down on that for a long time, didn't he?
Yeah, he
You
wasn't
could see
sure.
why.
Yeah, he wasn't sure, but
Just
crept in.
winning off the top lip.
This is one of those clearances, Nick, where you've, as you know, you've got to really keep good control of the white ball, and you have to be pinpoint with every shot.
He's got to play this one over distance as well, so makes it, just adds that little level of difficulty. There you go.
Yeah, and that's
And
what can happen, and he's in off by the looks
Yeah,
of it.
that's what's cost him. He nearly went in off the middle, but he's found the corner bag.
Chris should punish him now.
Chris with ball in hand. Don't forget, the rule is ball in hand anywhere on the table. If anyone's interested in the rules, then you've got a couple of options. There is a short rule set on the Players Pool Events page. There's the full set of rules pinned to the top of the page, and also myself and Viv Rusco made a short video this morning which discussed the pertinent points and the differences between this and other rule sets. You can find that on YouTube. It's a video that's named Supreme Rules. So you can see me on action on the pool table as well. I broke Dry Mind. I mean, I didn't pot anything. I can't boast too much about it, but you know, it was my first time I played on stream.
I've seen you break before. It's not like you to be dry. But no, Chris.
Is that Stephen Hendry in the background with the beard? I mean, that surely is a Stephen Hendry lookalike if it's not actually him. We got brought sweets. Aren't we lucky ones?
Oh, look at this.
Lovely too, my favourite. Fruit gums and what are those things called? Tutti Fruities. Nice.
It's not the best shot from Chris. He snookered himself.
Yeah.
Callum will be delighted with this. He would have been going back to his seat thinking it was 5-4 to Chris, but he could be coming back here and probably will be.
So, a really good chance now for young Callum. He's got this one ball tied up on the right-hand rail, but the ball just above it, just adjacent to it, is. I was about to say it's a pretty good ball to break it out, but actually he had the perfect angle just to screw straight back. Unfortunately for him, he's just put some cover onto the one in the middle. It still goes into other pockets, but just makes this clearance just a fraction more difficult. I don't think he would have wanted to leave this red to the last, and I'm just wondering if he thinks that he can pop the red off the yellow. I think he probably can. It's just above the pocket, but he's not going to go for it. Felt like he could pop the red off the yellow and just open that pocket.
Yeah, he maybe thought there was a little bit too risky, and
yeah,
actually
maybe
he's got quite a simple position.
Yeah, he
shot
does.
now,
Yeah, he
so,
can just drop it in, and
yeah,
that was clever from him.
took the risk out of it. But
yeah, very much so. He could drop it in and leave it long to top corner. Much better option. Good stuff this from Callum. We said earlier that it's just key for him to stay on Chris's coattails, and he's done so by virtue of a couple of errors from Chris. And now he's taken the lead for the first time. He's 5-4 up. Darren Appleton now 6 frames to 3 against Mark Farnsworth. Shane Thompson's now in action, playing Carl Boyce. 1 frame each. Ben Forty, who beat Cole Bedford in his first round, is 5 each against Jimmy Croxton. Zach Cooper is 5-4 down against Stefan Rosidi. Had quite a funny story earlier. One of the we had a little syndicate to buy a couple of players, and the players we wanted went too high, so we plumped for a group in the end. I can't remember exactly who was in the group, but the guy who organised it all, he offered all the players half of themselves. So, do you want to buy half of yourself for X amount? And most of them took him up on it. So what he did was he offered Stefan Rosidi half of himself, and Stefan agreed to buying half of himself. And then subsequently, for whatever reason, Stefan couldn't buy half of himself, so he pulled out on the deal. Subsequent to that, the guy that had bought the group realised that Stefan Rosidi wasn't even in the group. It was Ryan Pisani. So he'd offered to sell half to Stefan Rosidi. Had Stefan gone deep in the tournament and, say, made the quarterfinals or got the non-elite. Well, the guy said, he said, I would have honoured it because...
Oh my God.
But he said I'd have been $9 grand out of pocket. He said
Well,
I'd have had to honour it
Yeah.
because I'd sold it to him. But
Yeah, of course.
I didn't realise, I didn't even know.
Wow.
He made a mistake. It was actually Ryan Pisani.
Yeah.
And for some reason he had it in his head that it was Stefan Rosidi. But luckily for him, Stefan had pulled the plug on it and said, I can't buy half of myself after all. So he came back over and said, oh my God, that could have been a proper ricket.
Yeah. Got away with one there.
Dear me. Them's are those little mistakes where you think to yourself, oh dear.
So Chris will be hoping to put that bad shot out of his mind and get back on terms now. These yellows are shouldn't pose him any problems. And that's a fairly nice shot. Just needs to, yeah, he's got an angle on this, so should be absolutely fine now. Probably elect to play the one on the bottom cushion now. Top it in. Yeah, choice of 2 now.
So the general consensus so far on this rule set from virtually every player I've spoken to is that they absolutely love them. I mean, Mark Ball said, I love them. And people were talking about, you know, a brand new rule set, but Gareth Potts made the this kind of statement.
Dear.
Oh no.
Wow.
Well, yeah, he didn't get hold of that at all, did he? But obviously, yeah, Gareth Potts mentioned earlier that actually it's not a rule. It's not a new rule set. It's a rule set that's been around for donkey's years. It's a rule set they've been playing in America for a long time, in China. It's just a variation on it, but it now makes English 8-ball more accessible to a bigger audience. Gareth himself said that he'd be more likely to play next year if it was played to Supreme rules. I think that they were talking to Corey Jewell. Gaz said that he was talking to Corey Jewell in the States, and Corey was really interested in coming across and trying out. So who knows, he might even be in next year's series. Who's to say some of the Chinese wouldn't be interested if the money's right and the sponsorship deals are right and so on and so forth. So it's a rule set that opens up to everybody, and it's definitely something that's transferable to the big screen.
Yeah.
This is a simplified version of the rules that you could quite easily put on mainstream TV, and the layperson could just sit and watch them and understand them straight away. Not have to worry about, what are they doing this? Why are they playing a DF? Or what's this with a free shot? It's just a simple set of rules. So the feedback, as I say, has been tremendous from anybody who's played them so far.
Slightly worrying times for Chris. That's 2 elementary errors he's made, Nick, now in the last 2 frames, which you wouldn't normally associate with him.
Yeah, and these will be worrying times now for Chris. He knows he's up against a good player here. He could afford to make a couple of mistakes earlier. Not saying that Lee Washbrook wasn't a good player, but he just wasn't firing on all cylinders and didn't really put the pressure too much on Chris, although he played really well in spells. But, he's up against a... Wow, what's he doing here? Goodness me, you wouldn't put it past him either, would you? Oh, look how that gripped after it flicked the ball. If I hadn't flicked that ball in on the way past, I'd to say that was probably going to go fairly close.
Yeah.
So this is going to be another frame to Callum. I mean, the only real banana skin is going to be the black, and he can't do anything about that. No free shot to try and move it so he can pop one of the balls off the side rails. Sam Burr asking if that's Sam Sprackman reffing. It is indeed.
Oh, no. He won't be happy with that, and
No.
I fancy Chris to get this double.
Tough.
Thin double, I reckon he'll get it.
You reckon?
Mm-hmm.
You're calling it already, are you?
Calling it.
This is a tough double, though. Tough. I mean, I'd say this is like a 1 in 10 for most people, but with Chris, you never know, do you? Oh, my God. Well, Mr. Batten, hats off, sir. You pulled one out of the bag there.
Yeah, that's why they pay me the big bucks, Nick. But no, it's one of those, isn't it? In Callum's mind, he knows he should have taken that chance. And for Chris, it was a free roll shot, and he got it.
Yeah.
And look at this again, the replay. What a shot!
Fantastic. And look what it meant to him. Just that little dip of the knees, just there.
Yeah, he loved it.
Yeah, he did love it.
Loved it.
And that's why you just can't ever give him a sniff. You just can't let him near the table.
Frame 11, Chris Melling to break. 5 frames all. running.
Wow, what a break.
Yeah, fantastic. Clean flush that.
Yeah. Absolutely flushed that one. Right on the nose, right on the button, as it were.
That's another really good shot. He's just ended up in a bit of trouble. He's still got this long yellow to top corner, but he's actually not hampered. I thought he was hampered on this one. He was going to make it really tough, but he could just cue by the side. Now he's going to have to go long. Another one that needs good cueing. He's going to have to stun across. Plays it really well. The black, is that a problem?
It's not a problem as long as he gets anywhere past the halfway line, as it were.
Somewhere near the left bag, and he should be.
Yeah, he should be okay.
Yeah.
So he's just left a bit of an angle, which is he should be perfect now. Just needs to stun out anywhere past the black spot to the left-hand side, and he should be perfect. Ooh, yeah, he's fine.
Yeah.
May need a. No, he's playing. He should be fine. Yeah, and the blink of an eye.
Yeah, he's back in the lead. 6 frames to 5. What a great game this is.
Give you an update on the current scores. Darren Appleton is now 7-4 up against Mark Farnsworth. Shane Thompson 2 apiece with Carl Boys. And
Chris Day's pulled another frame ahead.
Yeah, Chris Day against Mick Hill 6-4 now. So Josh Kane against Jake Gillen New Love.
You nearly said that. You want to put your teeth in.
6-2 to Josh Kane. And Jimmy Croxton 7-6 up now against Ben Forte, so that's a really good match. That's
What about that Rob Chilton, Sean Chipperfield game? I mean, that needs a mention, doesn't it? I mean, Sean Chipperfield, one of the best players around, and well, he's just pulled a frame back. It was 9-4. He's just come back to 9-5.
Testament to how well Rob's playing, I would imagine.
And Gareth Hibbett, was he 3-0 behind?
He was
3-0 down, and he's now 5-3 ahead. So
your pick.
Yeah, he's showing his class. Well, I sat on the fence a bit. I had 3 picks. I said Boyle, Sheppy, and Hibbett.
Well, when he was 3-0 down, I mean, crikey, we thought he'd hit the skids, but he's, as you say, he's pulled a tremendous run. It's 5 frames on the trot now, so 5-3 up.
Talking of banana skins, there's a banana skin right there. Jordan Shepherd is playing Ben Tanner, and Ben Tanner just seems to put in performances when he comes up and plays in this series. He's currently leading Jordan Shepherd 2-1. Jordan Shepherd, one of the in-form players in the country at the moment, but that's a potential banana skin right there. Yeah. Jordan really fancies his chances this weekend, and I've got my fingers crossed for him because I put together a little syndicate to put him in this event. So I've got my fingers crossed for Sheppy. Chris Day now 7-4 ahead of Mick Hill. He's got that 3-frame advantage. Back again. Could Mick Hill, the 13,600 player in the Calcutta, be going out in his first game? He had a bye in the first round. Could he be going out in his winner's first round match, or going into the loser's side, should I say? There's no going out quite yet. Do you know, I'm sure that's either Stephen Hendry or Stephen Hendry's twin brother. he's there since Stephen Hendry grew that beard. His hair's a bit darker, but he's a spitting image.
Frame, Callum Singleton to break, trailing 6 frames to 5, time running.
So someone asked about, they're talking about the tactical foul. There's no such thing as a tactical foul in these rules. It's If you're talking about what you might call like say a failed combination, let's say you go for a combination shot red onto yellow to pot the yellow and then the red to follow it, but the red stayed over the pocket. It's just loss of turn. It's called a tactical shot, but not a tactical foul, because there's no penalty to it. You just lose your turn. The other player comes onto the table and he has to play the ball from where it lies. So in essence, you could take a massive advantage from that. You could put your ball over the pocket, maybe the black's adjacent to it, and then snooker him behind one of your other balls, and suddenly you've got a massive tactical advantage from it. It's a game. Right. It's a game that that rewards aggressive play. It rewards you for playing well, and it punishes you when you miss balls. That's what it does. As I say, there's a video on YouTube that we can point you towards. It's on the Beard Productions page, and it's called The Supreme Rules, which is just myself and Viv Rusco spending 10 minutes going through all the pertinent parts of the rule set for you guys, just so you get a better understanding of them. So when you get a chance, just have a watch of that 10-minute video. It's just going to explain the game for you, and it's really simple to pick up. And you'll have seen today, I mean, it's just open attacking play, and it's really the rules just so rarely come into the game at this level. I think Mark Ball said it makes you work for your win. You have to win the frame. You have to, you know, the rules aren't going to give them to you, if you know what I mean.
It's just a more honest way of playing, I think, and that's.
I think it's a breath of fresh air, personally. I really do.
So 6 apiece.
I think from a rule set perspective, because people try and draw comparisons and say, well, isn't that like a deliberate foul, or isn't it this and isn't it that? I think all you have to do with this rule set, and this is the way that it's been sold by Viv and Kenny and anybody else, is if you were watching pool for the first time and you didn't know any other rule set, you wouldn't have anything else to compare it to. So if you keep it as a standalone rule set and just say, you know, instead of saying, well, it's like a deliberate foul, don't compare it to something else. Just take it for what it is as a rule set in its own right, and don't try and draw comparisons, because you end up just confusing yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're better off just kind of like clearing everything from your mind and saying, right, these are the rules, and instead of trying to say it's like this or it's like that, because you just can't draw comparisons. It's a standalone. I mean, it's nature to try and draw. It's natural to try and draw comparisons, but then it just becomes more clouded and confusing. And I think that was the kind of point that I made earlier on. If you were watching snooker for the first time, you turned on, it's the World Championships, and Ronnie's playing Selby or whoever, and you sat watching it, you'd probably sit and watch it without ever looking up the rules, and you could pick it up and understand it probably within about 15 or 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, there's 15 reds and half a dozen colours, and they got a pot of red and then a colour, and each one's got a different value. You could pick it up.
Yeah, and when you're looking to market it to a bigger audience, I think that's the key.
Yeah.
You know, make it as simple as you can for everyone watching.
Yeah. Whereas, you know, sometimes world rules and black ball rules can be like maths, physics, and bionics all put together. You know, it's you know, you're trying to understand something that really it would take years to master it and understand it properly. Whereas, you know, you could probably sit and watch this rule set for a couple of frames and go, oh yeah, that's pretty simple.
Yeah, exactly.
And if anyone out there picked up on the fact that I used a line from the lyrics of My Perfect Cousin from the Undertones, well, hats off to you. The maths, physics and bionics bit is Fergal Sharkey special back in about 1979, if you're as old as me. But I know a lot of you people won't even remember the Undertones.
Ben Tanner 4-2 up now against Jordan Shepherd.
4-2 up.
And Chris Day 7-5 against Mick Hill. Rob Chilton 10-6 now against Sean Chipperfield.
Extension call.
So I just looked away for a second at
Yeah, it's a good shot. Callum played a thin clip off his yellow and potted Chris's red over the pocket.
okay, so he played that exact shot that we've been talking about,
Exactly.
that tactical shot.
Yeah.
So Chris now has to play the cue ball from where it is. That's really good knowledge of the rules, and that's the first time throughout the day that we've actually seen. I don't know if Chris can find a little thread or a hair or something just poking up from the table. It's just something that was taking his mind off of the shot, and he has to be careful about the clock. So yeah, clever stuff there from Callum. I just wonder, has he left a gap? No, he hasn't.
Ball in hand.
Something was putting Chris off there. He obviously felt he could get through that gap, but just flicked the yellow on the way through. Darren Appleton inching closer to the line. He's 8 frames to 5 ahead. Rob Chilton's just done a job over Sean Chipperfield, and it's 11 frames to 6. He's through to winners round 2. Reeling back the years, another nostalgia moment there as Rob Chilton is fairly reeling back those years to the late 90s when he was at the top of the game.
Yeah, you can almost sniff the money.
Chris Day, the same scoreline as that Appleton game. He's 8-5 ahead of Mick Hill. Some shocks on the cards.
Jimmy Croxton is 1 away as well, Nick. 10-6 up now against Ben Forte. And Phil Harrison, he's certainly not being friendly to his mate Rich Wharton. 7-1 up.
7-1 ahead. Horrible man. Fancy
Yeah.
doing that to your mate.
Wow.
This yellow clearly passes the black into opposite middle.
Oh. He's all right. Oh. Just.
Yeah.
And
takes the lead again.
Yeah, 7-6 to Callum. So as we said earlier on in the match, he needed to stay in contact, and he's doing a pretty good job of it so far.
Ian Alley, 6-4 up against Sean Story. Ryan Pisani, who is the player that we have in the Calcutta, is 4-3 up against Carl Morris. It would be nice to see him go deep into the tournament. Also, it's the bittersweet. Owning Ryan Pisani, you want to see him go deeper, but at the same time, big fan of Carl Morris as a player, so good to see him. Talked about nostalgic moments. I mean, it was 1998 he won a world championship, I think. Was it 98 or around about that time? 20 years on, still really there and thereabouts at the top of the game.
14th frame, Callum Singleton to break.
Stefan Rasidi 9-6 up against Zach Cooper.
Chance for Callum now to put some daylight between the two players if he can break him clear. Another great break.
See Shane Thompson's twin brother in the background there. Is that Mark Fleming holding audience with his back to you? That's Craig Waddingham with the Jason Owen Q's top on. They do look alike though, Greg, come on.
No, they do. Mark Farnsworth pulled one back against Darren Appleton, and now trailing 8-6.
Declan Brennan's turning things around against Jamie Graham, 4-2 up. Waits until the last second before calling extension. I think that's probably a good idea as well. I see these players who call extension with like 10 seconds left. Well, then you're losing out on 10 seconds of your time because they reset the clock as soon as you call extension.
Yeah.
You're better off waiting until the ref gets down to sort of, well, maybe not wait until he gets to 1 second in case he doesn't hear you, but maybe just like 2 or 3 seconds left.
Yeah.
Make sure you get full advantage of your additional 45 seconds. Ben Tanner now 5-2 up against Jordan Shepherd. And that banana skin we mentioned, starting to look very slippery for Jordan. Callum really showing a clinical side to his game. He takes a good amount of time over his shots, gives it good consideration, but rarely hears the countdown. He's still a pretty quick player when he needs to be. It's, for a young man, he really is very, very well composed, and that's another very clever little shot from him. Just developing one of the difficult balls. A lot of players there would have somehow tried to manufacture something that wasn't there, gone for an aggressive option and tried to beat one of the balls out that wasn't necessarily on. So again, showing wisdom beyond his years, putting Chris in more trouble. Chris going for a double, and he would have at least wanted to put in some covering fire there. But
he's left the frame, hasn't he?
He really has. I don't think he will, but it's even there for Callum to move the black if he wants to. As I say, I don't think he will. I don't think he needs to. Again, has that option available to him. Again, I don't think he will. Kind of little bit surprised he didn't just try and hold for the yellow down the rail, being a big pocket. If he doesn't hit this, oh, there you go. I was going to say he might take away his big pocket if he collides with the red, in which he has done so. It shouldn't be a problem. He should be potting this ball down the rail, but it was unmissable while the red was there.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of surprised he didn't go for the one down the rail first. Always has the consideration of the black. He's going to try to leave, what he'd ideally like to do is leave the yellow nearest the left-hand corner pocket to get on the black, because whichever way he lands, whichever way he lands, he can just drop. He's got a big target with the red there. He can just drop across towards the red. But that's not going to be available to him now. Again, should still be okay, but this is the point where it could go wrong.
Yeah, because he needs to get the right angle now on the last yellow. And
absolutely,
we've seen it many a times go wrong, especially when it's a very close match like this one. Bit of pressure in the arm, but
so he'll be looking just to play slightly thinner and just run across the bottom face of the ball for the yellow in the bottom. And there you go. See,
he's played it nicely.
Just slightly shorter pace.
Yeah, he's going to have to come off 2 cushions. Yeah. So again, he's going to have to judge it well.
Yeah, screw it back off the side rail.
Should be okay, but
what just happened there? I thought I heard.
No, he just said Carl.
Oh,
someone in the audience.
Sorry, I thought I heard the ref call foul for a second. It was.
Yeah, nice shot.
Yes, very nice. So now he puts some air between himself and Chris Melling. Bit of distance, 2 frames ahead. 8-6. Pressure firmly back on Chris Melling.
Frame, Chris Melling to break, trailing 8 frames to 6, time running.
Chris quite rightly making sure that the rack is tight. He knows the significance of this break, and that is a disaster. That really is an absolute disaster.
Yeah, the yellows look very, very good.
So you heard the referee call foul, 1 visit from behind the break line. And it's known as the break line rather than the bulk line in these rules, just simply because it plays the significance that a foul at any other time in open play is ball in hand anywhere on the table, but foul off the break is ball in hand behind that break line. Still gives Callum a distinct advantage in this frame. Just has to mind his work, doesn't he? He's all about positional side of things.
Yeah, it's this shot now, to be honest.
Yeah.
This is the shot that's going to determine the frame. If he can land nice, he should be home and dry. But
it's hard to judge, isn't it? I mean, he can find the line back through these balls, but he's just slightly hampered cueing, raising the butt of his cue.
Yeah.
And it's hard to judge the pace on this cloth where it's so grippy.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely a feel shot, this one, because where he's pointing his cue is where he wants the white to be, really.
Yeah.
Extension call. Time out.
And he's asked for the woodwork. the spider, and that makes it a lot more difficult, doesn't it? I mean, I don't know what he's like as a
Well, I think
as a snooker player, but this kind of apparatus is alien to a pool player.
yeah, and when you're bridging down, the skid factor on the cloth becomes even more relevant.
He's played that well. Played that really well.
That's another really good shot there by Callum.
I see some comments about the tactical shot that Callum played in the last frame, where people saying that Callum played a foul and Chris didn't have an advantage from it. The point is, you're comparing this rule set to other rule sets. It's not a foul. In this rule set, it's a tactical shot. It's part of the rules. It simplifies the game.
Yeah, I think
and
people are getting
not
confused.
A
It's
foul.
not a foul. Yeah.
You cannot draw comparisons to this and other rule sets. That's the important part about it. It's not a deliberate foul. It's not a foul. And funnily enough, you know, people talking about this, how many times do you see deliberate fouls played in world rules? And, you know, in a match you would see quite a number of times probably. We have now watched, this is the 5th streamed match on this table. I don't know how many frames that is, probably in the region of about 80 or 90 frames today. And we have seen 2 tactical shots, and only one of those that gave the real advantage to the player who played it, which was the shot that Callum played against Chris.
Which says it all,
That's
really.
the only time it's been done all day. So to make a massive point out of it is just, it's just a moot point, because it's just irrelevant. It's just not come into the game at all.
Ooh, Callum.
Wow.
That was a good chance for 9-6, and he's let it slip.
And the other point that we continually make is this rule set will punish you for making mistakes. And Chris made a mistake and he left 2 balls on the table, and Callum punished him for making that mistake. That's exactly what this rule set does.
Yeah.
If you clear the table, you clear the table. You've done a great job. If you miss one of your balls,
It punishes you.
it punishes you. But that's exactly what it should be. You should be punished for making mistakes and rewarded for good play.
Yeah, exactly right. So that's now 8-7 to Callum Singleton. Should have probably been 9-6 though, he'll feel. Chris will certainly be the happier of the 2 players.
Yeah. Yeah, very much so, yeah.
Mark Farnsworth pulled another one back against Darren. He's 9-7 now. Ben is 5-4 up against Jordan Shepherd.
Frame 16, Callum Singleton to break, leading 8 frames to 7, time running.
So you hear the referee call red balls in play, and now this is Chris's opportunity to take advantage of Callum's dry break and draw level.
Yeah, they don't look difficult either, Nick.
Do you know, I just moved across the table slightly just to see if that red went, and I forgot I'm watching a big TV screen, and it doesn't make any difference if I move across slightly.
You're not the first to have
I'm
done
still
it,
not
I'm
going to be
sure.
able to see whether it goes or not. How many times have I done that? Oh my God. Right, so I think he can just nick a bit of the pocket here and just come down across where the bulk line meets the cushion and take that red into the right centre pocket. I think that's what he has to do, because I don't think it passes into that into the top corner that he's playing this one into. Ah, that little flick. Well, it does go. It goes to the top right now, but again, tricky little shot. Chris Day's now on the hill against Mick Hill, 10 frames to 6 up, and Mick Hill, I'm going to say it again, the £13,600 Calcutta player is at risk. Darren Appleton is on the hill against Mark Farnsworth. Darren Appleton in the interview earlier on said that how much he was looking forward to playing Mark Farnsworth because he loves testing himself against the best players. Look what he's doing here. He didn't play very well in that first game on the stream table against Darren McVicker, but look at this. 10-7 up against one of the best backball players in the world. The guy is just a natural winner. Where's he going with this one? That surely couldn't have been the plan, could it?
No, I think in truth, I might be wrong, but I think he played the cannon actually.
Played
on
the cannon
yellow,
onto one of the
missed
yellows,
it.
yeah.
But anyway, as it is, he's back to 8-all, all to play for now.
Gareth Hibbert 6-5 up against Matt Schofield. Rich Wharton trying to make a bit of a comeback. He's got 3 frames on the board now, but it's 8-3. Jimmy Croxton already through. Stefan Rosidi already through against Zach Cooper. Zach, of course, was the player that has pushed Greg into the loser's side. And that's why Greg sat here next to me. It's Beard Productions' gain. Greg's lost, the tournament's lost, but it's Beard's gain. Get to enjoy a commentary session. I was about to say comedy session with Greg.
Well, it's been a bit of a laugh as usual, so it's all good.
Jack Whelan. I don't know what happened with Jack. There's something strange. I don't know if he's just been away somewhere, because Zach Shepherd said that his flight only turned up at 1:30 this afternoon. Jack Whelan was due to play earlier on, but then he ended up getting a bye in the first game, so he didn't need to turn up until now, because Zach got a bye in the first round through a no-show of Paul Riley, and he said he should have really had a bye in the second round, because Jack should have been, you know, if he didn't get a bye, he would have been timed out in his first round. So play they are, and Jack's currently 2-0 up against Zach. Craig Waddingham's just started his game against Gavin Robinson. Gav came through a Hill game, winning 11-10 earlier on. Jamie Graham 4-all with Declan Brennan. And Carl Boyce is 6-3 up against Shane Thompson. Carl Boyce, another one fairly reeling back the years. Of course, all these players were in action against USA the other day, weren't they? Darren Appleton was with Mark Gray, Chris Melling, and Carl Boyce. All 3 of them were down in London playing the warm-up event versus, who was the other player in the team? It was 5, wasn't there? Yeah, there was 5. I forget who the other one was. Was it Peach? No, Peach was the manager of the team, wasn't he? Anyway. Imran Majid, of course. Thanks, guys. How could I forget that?
Ben Tanner's crept ahead again of Jordan Shepherd, 6-5 up now. So Chris has just run out of position here, and he's going to need to find a really good pot now. Red into the bottom left-hand pocket. He's missed it. And could be problems for Chris now. Sean Story, after being, I think he was 4-1 down, is now 7-6 in front against Ian Alley.
Goodness.
Sean Story, of course, the last tournament's finalist.
Yeah, he's had a good series, really. He made a deep run earlier in the... didn't he win a non-elite early in the proceedings? Maybe not. Maybe it was... I know...
Yeah, he did. About, what, before this series started, you mean?
I thought it was one of the early... Maybe he didn't.
Oh, I don't know.
No. I know he's had a good couple of deep runs.
Yeah. Yeah, very high up on the rankings, isn't he?
Yeah. Needs to run, and he's okay. Played that, judged the weight really well. Just trying to push one of those.
Yeah, but you say he's okay, but he's left...
Oh, he has left this. I thought... Wow.
Well, he's left something, surely.
Well, he must have... Well,
Chris
you
is
can
red.
see
This is not good.
He's exasperated in the background, isn't he?
Yeah. That was not a good
I
shot.
don't know what he was trying to do there then. Oh, he's left this one to the middle, my goodness. Thought he was just trying to put some covering across all the balls. That only just went as well, didn't it? And as a result, of it wiping its feet, it just went a little bit too thin on it and has come down almost touching ball on this red. He's going to have to, well, if he's playing that shot, he has to get his cue out of the way very quickly. Otherwise, he's in great danger of double hitting. Surely it doesn't go from this angle, does it? Well, it does. And he's broken out the black. But major problems.
Yeah, it's the only thing I can think of he can play really is half ball off this red, unless he goes for a triple.
It's got to be a treble, isn't it? But what's he going to do with the last ball? I mean, it's not like he's got an angle to play the treble and break out the red.
No.
I'm not going to second guess.
Going for it.
Where's the value in this shot, though? I guess if he doesn't make it, he's still got those two balls tied up on the side rail. So, but if he does make it, not quite. Oh, he could. He could break out that yellow, but long way away from the treble. And what he's done there is move one of Callum's very difficult balls out. I mean, that was a low percentage shot for me. That was. He's not going to make that too often. I know he likes to express himself on the table, but that one...
That was asking a bit much.
It was. Especially, you know, knowing that he's going to bring out the one very difficult ball. I mean, okay, Callum's still got this little conundrum with the yellow and black tied up, but can he play this thin into the middle and miss the red? Can he play it thin enough where he can just miss the red?
Yeah, I think he can. May even clip the yellow, which is what he's tried. Yeah, it's a good shot.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice.
Jack Williams raced into a 4-0 lead against Zach Shepherd, so he won't be very happy. As you say, considering Jack was lucky to get here by the sounds of it.
Yeah. Gareth Hibbert's just gone 8-5 up against Matt Schofield, having trailed 3 frames to 0. And this looks like a lovely angle to pot this yellow. Put a bit of side on the cue ball, running side just to come down table slightly. Slightly awkward.
Yeah, slightly
from the
tricky.
rail. It is tricky, but
should be fine.
yeah, if he plays it at pocket weight,
he just needs to cue this, doesn't he? Trust his cueing.
Yeah, I think he's potting this like 98 times out of 100 with pocket weight.
Yeah.
No dramas at all.
And Mick Hill has come from 10-6 behind. He's pulled 2 backs, now only trailing 10-8. So that match still alive. And also Darren Appleton, same scoreline, 10-8 up against Mark Farnsworth.
2 players that don't know when they're beat. And Mark Farnsworth and Mick Hill, you're never going to get an easy ride. And they always say the winning frame is the hardest one to win. Callum Singleton now. We're going to, there's going to be a test of his maturity. I talked about his maturity beyond his years. There's going to be a test. Because I'll tell you something, I watched a test of his maturity when he played Tom Cousins at 10 frames all. And in event 1, over on one of the other tables in the arena. And I'll be honest, he had some great chances and he should have beaten Tom. But I think he just lost his nerve a little bit at the end. And I think it's fair to say, I don't think I'd be doing him a disservice if I said that, you know, I think his back elbow went a little bit on a key shot that he should have got. It's happened to everyone. But now we're getting to the business end of this tournament. If Chris keeps the pressure on him, how's Callum going to deal with that? Remains to be seen. And that's a dry break.
That's the last thing he wanted.
Problems, though, for both ball sets. Red ball tied up and a yellow ball tied up. So would think he's going to go yellows here.
Yeah, because if he can see this yellow to the left-hand bottom bag, he can swing the white round, and cannon is one of his difficult yellows out.
Yep. The only problem with that shot is if
landing on something.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, landing on something. If he cannons it full ball, he's pretty much in no man's land.
Hence why he put a bit more effort into the shot, played it a bit harder.
Put some zip in that, and
yeah,
that's a really good shot. Now it's opened the frame up, and we just wonder whether he can get to the potting angle of the yellow next to the red on the right-hand side now.
Yeah.
I'd have to assume he could.
I think he can, actually, even looking at it from our camera angle.
And may well leave that as his last ball to get on the black.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah. That looks okay. Just needs to screw back 6 or 8 inches. Okay, it's gone probably further than we'd like, so we take this one now, swing it round. Yeah, that's no problem. And as we said, leave the yellow closest to the red on the right hand cushion to the last ball. And that is absolutely perfect. So Callum did nothing wrong there, just a dry break. but we will be locked again at 9 frames all. And what a match this is.
I'll tell you what, there's some results coming in this tournament so far. Young Jordan Templeton pushing one of the most consistent players of this series so far, Ronan McCarthy, into the loser's side early doors. Jordan Shepherd's in a fight, currently at 6 frames each. Mark Farnsworth's in a fight against Darren Appleton. Mick Hill's in a battle across there, so
it's all happening.
It is all happening. And I can tell you that Mark Farnsworth is currently at the table. And it looks as though Darren Appleton has missed a clearance. He's left 1 yellow on the table. So he's obviously been on the clearance and missed his penultimate ball. Missed the last yellow. And now Mark Farnsworth comes to the table to pull another frame back to go 10-9. So it's all happening. It's drama.
Everywhere you look.
It really is. We look across briefly to the Mick Hill versus Chris Day game. And let's see. And that's Mick Hill at the table for certain. And he's on the last yellow to get on the black to pull it back to 10 frames to 9. So drama in both of those matches. Both look like going to 10-9. And Mick Hill does indeed deposit the black. And there's just 1 frame in it from being 10-6 behind.
19th frame, Chris Melling to break, 9 frames all, time running.
So Chris will be hoping for a monster break now in this frame to get himself on the hill. And that's exactly what he's got.
I guess the problem that Mark Farnsworth has in his game, and he's taken a long time over the next shot that he's got, is he's got a couple of balls tied up, and Darren's got a ball over the pocket. So it's going to be a tricky clearance here for Mark. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on that game. As I say, you can watch as well by flicking across to table 11. Or just sort yourself out 2 devices, 1 game on the smart TV and perhaps 1 on the laptop. Adam Davis, the hawk look of Adam Davis peering onto the table in the background. Safely through his game.
Chris with a problem yellow at the top, but he'll probably be playing the skill shot.
He's going to play a combo, isn't he?
Yeah.
Has to.
Yeah.
Has to. And even a failed combo wouldn't be a disaster there, would it?
No,
That's one of those
exactly.
situations where Callum's got 3 balls around there. So if Chris plays a combo and leaves the yellow in the pocket, then Callum's going to be playing from...
Although it would be awful if he played it last, because then he would be in trouble, because
Of
Callum
course.
could just snooker him.
yeah, of course, yeah.
But-
Which he is going to play at last, so
Yeah.
he's going to have to...
He's got to get it.
He's going to have to get it.
To be fair, the red looks pretty deep into the pocket, so someone of Chris's standard, you'd think.
The problem is with these rules, even if he does get snookered, he only has ball in hand, and he's still got 3 balls to get out. So,
Takes a little bit of the pressure off, which
does.
is...
but Chris will be going 100% for this, looking for the combo. Doesn't want the yellow to stay up.
Yeah, he got it
That's
as well.
perfect. Great
Nice
shot. As I say, had it stayed up, it wouldn't have been an absolute disaster. But no drama whatsoever. he goes onto the hill, and he's 10-9 ahead. And Mark Farnsworth has made a brilliant clearance in that match. He had a lot of tough balls on the table, made a really good clearance under pressure. He's pulled that game back to 1 frame. And that match is also in the balance at 10-9. Jordan Shepherd has gone ahead for the first time in his game, and he's leading 7 frames to 6.
Carl Boyle's 8-3 up against Shane Thompson. And Ian Alley is now ahead 9-8 against Sean Story.
Chris Day is on a very makeable clearance against Mick Hill. And this, he has 2 yellows left on the table and a black ball between him and dumping Mick Hill into the loser's side.
13, what was it?
£13,600.
Wow.
How would you feel if you spent that kind of money? Well, look at this for a break. Almost lost the white ball. Almost lost the white ball, but it stayed up. Now, Chris Day has the last yellow on the table, and I've got to tell you, it's a tricky little shot. He's got a tricky little shot into the middle bag, and he has to play it with a bit of pace because he has to get out for the black. Now, this is probably one of the biggest shots he's ever played. He's made it, and he's
perfect.
Perfect on the black. Absolutely nailed the shot.
Chris Day.
A straight black into the corner, and it's Mick Hill taps the table, shakes hands, and Mick Hill drops into the losers section.
Oh, and as we say that,
Wow.
Callum has just missed a red.
What?
It's
I mean,
all
that's
happening.
that's
After
it's
a
just
brilliant break.
unforgivable, isn't it?
Yeah, after a really, really good break as well.
I did say, I mean, I don't think that was necessarily pressure that did that, but I did say, how is he going to perform when he's got that bit of pressure? And that was a must-make clearance.
Yeah.
If ever you got pressure, it was right there, wasn't it? It was a must-make clearance.
Yeah, and
So with Mick Hill dropping to the loser's side, our eyes turn across to the Farnsworth v Appleton game. Are there going to be 2 of the big favourites dropping into the loser's side early doors?
Chris has played that absolutely
What a shot.
perfect.
What a shot.
One good shot now, and he should be safely through.
Mark
And,
Farnsworth is currently at the table on a clearance to go hill-hill. Ooh.
It's all starting to
okay.
get a bit nervy. It's only the second round, Nick.
I know. Unbelievable scenes.
Again, though, just showing the strength and depth of the tour.
Really.
Someone like Chris Day, who hasn't necessarily, set the world alight this series, but he's capable of beating arguably the best or one of the best players, certainly in the event on his day, as are a lot of the players. So everywhere you look, there's quality.
He's going to send the white ball around.
Oh, he got into it too much.
What's he got now?
Well, do you know what? He'll play. I think he'll play yellow off the bottom cushion into the top left-hand bag.
Big pocket. Another big call.
That's
from
what I'm
Greg.
calling.
That it's a harder shot with the red being on the cushion because it takes away a margin of error. Because normally you'd have that margin of error if you hit it too far wide, then it can go cushion first and then go in off the red. But that's taken away because the red ball's there, so it's not really a big pocket. It's quite a fine channel up there, isn't it?
Yeah, if he doesn't think he can play that, he'll have to play something different. Though he might even have a plant or something, but I don't know.
He might just be able to turn the white ball over and get to the plant angle, but that's a really difficult shot, really tough. And all this from just that little unwanted flick.
I think he's going with my option.
Well, I don't know what happened there.
Didn't hit it very well.
I don't think he's has he misjudged the double by that much? I mean, he couldn't have gone for a treble because there was no treble on.
No. Yeah, I think he just misjudged it.
Yeah. Just trying to make sure he hit it on the thinner side, knowing that he couldn't go wide. And, yeah, just misjudged it. Right look on his face. Well, we've seen Callum already spurn a decent opportunity. And now he's laid a trap for Chris.
As we flick back over to Mark Farnsworth, he should be going 10-all. He's just got tap in 2 reds. And the black for 10-all against Darren Appleton. That one's being played on table 11 if you guys want to flick over and watch the last frame there.
Drama on both tables. I don't think you want to. You want to stay in.
You need both, I think.
We're going to have a decider on both tables. We'll keep you up to date with the action on, or just get your iPad out. Fire it up on your iPad. It's the best thing to do. You can watch them both.
What a shot.
Oh my God.
What a shot.
No, he's never done that, has he?
That's unbelievable. Unbelievable, Nick.
And 100% went for that shot. 100%. That's disgusting. Wow. What a way to finish a match. That really is spectacular. There's over 800 people watching this match and over nearly 800 people watching Darren against Mark, and those numbers are going to fly up now. Indeed they do. As we step away from the action on this table, we are going to have a quick interview with Chris Melling, so if you'd like to stay with us for that, then we'll be in the interview room in just a couple of minutes. In the meantime, I'm just going to keep my eye on that 10-all Darren Appleton. Thanks to Greg Batten. That was real good fun. Always a pleasure to commentate with Greg. Thank you very much, and hopefully we'll see you again over the weekend, and good luck for the rest of your event. But I'm just going to keep a beady eye on this this Mark Farnsworth, Darren Appleton, because Darren Appleton is just about to break the 21st deciding frame. Here we go. If ever he needed a big break, it's now. So I'm joined by Lee Kendall and Chris Melling. Chris, just off the back of that win, we talked about banana skins several times over the weekend, so far today, and Callum, he's a really good young player, 23 years old, and if ever there was a banana skin, he might have been it. He had the lead in points during the game. He knocked out Tom Cousins in event 4, so he was going to be a tough opponent for you. So a really good performance. You've got to be happy with that one.
Yeah, you know, and all credit to Callum. He's a great young player. I've said it all along. I've messaged him a few times on social media, and I can't give the guy, well, should I say the young lad, enough credit. He's a brilliant performer, great cue action. Not only that, he's a nice lad.
Yeah.
You know, he's not cocky. He's a World Masters champion. You'll probably never meet a nicer guy, especially from the young players coming through. I'm just delighted to get through because that was tough.
Yeah, there was a couple of things there. I mean, I did wonder how he'd fare under pressure. I mean, he was under pressure in, I think it was event 1 against Tom Cousins in a Hill game, and he missed a finish that he really should have got. He maybe did it again there at the end. It just seemed like, I don't know if nerves played a part, but he's missed the ball in that frame.
Yeah,
10-9.
well, he actually beat me in one of the series, one of the Supreme Pool series, and he played brilliant against me there. I was 4-0 up, and I think he beat me 8-4, 8-5.
Yeah.
But I mean, for me to stay in the match there, I've had to knock some unbelievable clearances in. I'm going to watch the match back just to see what I did wrong, where I could go right. I know I missed a few chances and a few positional shots, especially there at the end, because it was kind of a natural position, but I was sort of second guessing a little bit because I thought if I play it with a bit more pace, then I'm not going to snooker myself behind the red.
Yeah.
But then I'm thinking, well, if I play it slower, I'm guaranteed to get position because it's the right angle, but then it might slide. So things are going through your mind, you know. Obviously, to win the way I won was just unbelievable.
I've got to touch on that finish. I mean, the chat box was going mad, and rightly so. I mean, that's just a ridiculous finish. I mean, we see you pull it out time and time again, and sometimes we come to expect it, but it's just crazy.
Yeah, I'm just sick of leaving myself in positions like that.
True.
I mean, obviously, to win like that, it's a dream come true, really, because Callum played brilliant in the whole game. Like you say, he made a few mistakes, but that's going to make him a better player. You need to lose to learn to win, if that makes sense. And I learnt my grade as a young kid, and I lost a lot of matches, especially I've lost in world finals, things like that, and it hurts, but that's how you learn. And I'm sure he's going to be around for a long, long time. Yeah. Obviously, going back to that cross double, when I practice, I actually play kick shots. That's all I play. I don't try and pop balls because I know that's the best part of my game. I know my break's pretty good. I know I'm good under pressure. So for me, my weakness is the kick shots. So if I can get pots out when I'm snookered or get people in trouble, then that's going to help me better than it's going to help somebody else.
It's definitely not a weakness in your game. I mean, you're
I keep doing it.
Stronger at it than most players, but obviously, you get the reward from practicing them.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people look at that and say, oh, you was lucky, but I mean, you can watch me line the shot up.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I get it every time.
I was stood behind and I was talking to, I think it was Darren McVicker and Jez, and I said, if there's any man that you want to play the shot, it's Chris, because he's good at working the angles out, and I would bang in the line. I saw exactly what you're doing, so I know you didn't fluke anything. I think everybody in the room knew you were sizing it up. Yeah. But, I mean, you are very good at them shots. You've done it so many times, and I've seen it many, many times. I've been on the back end of a few of them.
I think we had a discussion a few years ago where you were talking about those kind of strengths in your game in kicking balls and doubling balls. It comes from your versatility in the game. The fact that you play Chinese and you play American, you have to be good at those shots in 9-ball, for example.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, Darren Appleton and Ralph Souquet showed me a lot of the kicking systems. Efren Razor showed me a lot of the kicking systems. But I've actually worked a few on my own as well. I've worked it out when I've been practicing. And basically, it's mathematics. That's all it is. Yeah. And luckily for me, when I was at school, I was good at maths. It was my favourite subject, so that helps. But obviously, for me to keep doing them, I mean, obviously, it's great for my reputation.
But I think before you went to the 9-ball, though, I remember as a young kid, and you were still good at kick shots then. It's just, I think, something you see. You naturally see the angle, and obviously with practice you perfect them. But I think you do naturally see them shots.
Yeah, and I think that's what's made me a winner at the 9-ball, really, because that's the difference between being a good and a great, is being able to play them safeties, especially when you're under pressure. Especially at 9-ball, it's utmost importance to get that object ball safe. I mean, my phone's actually going mental now in my pocket.
And rightly so, after a win like that, because it's a massive tournament. He's got you in the last one, so you must be thinking, well, I'm in for a tough match. He knows he can beat me, So it's a tournament you want to win, and certainly the money you want to win. So you're thinking, I've got to get him out of the way. So
Yeah,
I could see your reaction as well.
Yeah, because I mean, I didn't give it the big un. I sort of, it was
bigger.
relief. It was relief. I've never really give it the big un when I've won, unless I don't like somebody.
Yeah.
But I like Callum. He's a great kid, and like I said before, I've been in his shoes. I know what it's all about. I know what he's feeling, and he's going to come back. I mean, he's still in the event, but he's going to come back stronger. And I promise you, he's going to be a world champion. He's too good not to be a world champion.
Yeah.
Talking-
Definitely one of the future of the game.
And talking of world champions, 5 times world champion Mikkel's now on the loser side, and that's a big shock to lose to Chris Day. Chris Day's a great player, England player, but you know, Mick's one of the elites. So
Yeah.
Just shows you the standard of play these days. Like I was speaking about the other day, back in the day, 10, 15 years ago, the top players, in my opinion, were better than the top players now. That's not knocking the top players because they are brilliant and you can only beat who's in front of you. But I believe now, like Darren said yesterday, that the lower end of the players are really, really good, and they're certainly better than back 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So I think whoever you play, you've got to play well. You need a little bit of luck, and you've got to play well. And if you play as good as you can play, you're going to win the tournament.
Yeah.
And talking about the tournament, you can see down your phone, Nick, it's 10-10 with Darren Appleton and Mark Farnsworth.
Farnsworth, yeah. Just keeping
we all-
a keen eye on that. It's
Oof,
Hill
Darren's
game.
got a tough one.
Well, Darren's on the yellows. I know we're supposed to be doing interviews, but
Smash it in the top pocket and spin off 2 rails for black in the corner.
you probably could, Chris.
so, guys. If you want to know what they're watching the Mark Farnsworth against Appleton game. It's over on table 11. You can actually follow that action. No doubt you probably are if you've got smart TV and some kind of device in front of you. You can watch both at the same time. But, Chris, we must stop meeting like this. This is the second time already today, but keep on winning, and it'd be a pleasure to see you back in here again.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully we keep meeting, because obviously that means I've won.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But like I said, there's so many great players. I mean, you've only got to look at Darren and Mark Farnsworth and people like that, Ron and Mick.
Oh, is it a right
I mean, there's so many great players these days, and you need luck. You need luck to win any tournament.
Talking of luck, Darren's just had a right flick on
Oh,
his...
he can find them. Don't worry about him.
Probably one in the middle, flick one at the top, but he's got a...
It's twitchable. I don't think he'll twitch it, but it is twitchable.
We'll just watch this one.
Oh, he's twitched it.
He's had a
He's
massive
twitched
twitch.
it. Oh dear.
Wow.
He was up
Could
off
be
the
Mark
shot.
Farnsworth. So anyway, we're going to draw things to a close because we've got the 8 o'clock round still to get on. We're just overrunning that one slightly. As I say, Chris, thanks so much for your time.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Well
Cheers,
played.
Nick. Cheers, Lee.
Well done, mate. Keep going.
Yeah.
And,
I'm not sure. I didn't get a chance to look at what game we've got coming up next. Do you know what's on stream?
I don't know because I've been going all round
Yeah.
the... making sure-
Darren's conceded.
Yeah.
So who knows? Well, there you go. You heard it straight from the horse's mouth. Darren's conceded that frame, and
He'll be sick.
he will be sick. And Mark Farnsworth goes through on the winner's side, having been 10-6 behind. So something else going on there. Incredible scenes here at the grand final. We'll see you all back again very shortly for the next round.